Collapse at condominium in West Kendall. All right, there's the staircase. Now, what do we have here? It looks like we have a balcony type setup here where you come up the steps and you turn, and that would be your railing, if you will, acting as a railing, this solid, the block wall system right here.
Stairway collapsed Saturday at the Sonoma Lake community off South.
And you can see, zoom in, you can see the hollowness of it, presents as hollowness of it, the block. Interesting, there are no cracks here on the wall. So all the stresses where the floor is dead load. This is the floor's weight itself, this dead load. Oh, and you see how much steel it works, how that steel is integral with the tying into the wall there, and how it ripped it out. See how the steel is, the holes are bulging and ripped it out. You see it? Yeah, I don't see it either. This reminds me of the joke of the, have you heard the one about the happily married man? Have you guys heard the joke about the happily married man? Yeah, I haven't either. So anyway, let's put this just flipped over by chance. This is an amazing little flip over. So I said no steel, but for it to hold against the wall, there must be some steel present here, or it would have sheared off. So the steel is at the bottom there, and yet it was acting in a cantilever capacity, and they put the steel at the bottom. If you guys saw me do the videos of that, it just flaps over. This steel should have been more at that, not this steel, it should have been, well, you can put it at the bottom and top, but the top, because it's a cantilever at that point. So somebody screwed the pooch. There's the pieces where it just sheared off. When I say sheared off, I mean just pulled away, the dead load, just, people walking down the steps. That cycle loading I'm talking about. So yeah, it looks great. And then you cycle, then you cycle, then you cycle, and you cycle. In this case, this is interesting. Let's evaluate so this part of the stairs goes back right to there. And there's a step up, appears to be a step up. So there's your top step, and then you come onto this landing, this gray painted landing. We can see how the paint might have went up the wall. So this might, even though it looks like white, there's might probably some that's gray there, and that piece goes there. It's probably gray going up the wall, or they changed colors right at the edge of the wall. So point painted two different directions, two colors. Now, there's your wall. That's what's remaining of this wall system. And what does it look like? It looks kind of poured.
Southwest 157.
So there is the railing, if you will, the railing.
The avenue.
Now it's staying together here because this wall here is integral to it. It doesn't mean it's going to stay together. You could fix this with a support right down to the ground, depending on if the soil can take it, and rebuild it and leave the post in. Something real fast, and that way you wouldn't have to destroy this.
Monday, county inspectors stopping by the condos were told a structural engineer has been hired.
So here's the other backside, I guess the other part of it, and that's...
So in the meantime, just as a precaution, the stairwells here at this community taped off just in case a landing does give way. But residents we spoke to really are concerned, especially cosmetic.
There we go. There's the inside of it. Yes, so it's white inside, and they stuck around the darker. They came back and did a round 2 of the video. So there's the gray.
Thing is,
there we are. Beautiful, beautiful. So there's the gray, and there's the top step.
Cosmetic issues, and then once we get into
all right, so it appears. Let me do a couple of screenshots. It presents as a block wall that's with some water to. Whoa. This is kind of smeary, if you see. This is that block wall pressed down, and yeah, this block wall right there. So this is a block wall. It's holding up pretty good. It's tied all the way back to here in a cantilever capacity. So the plaster, the stucco on it is acting like a tension member, doing a great job on this side and that other side. This is pretty much dead weight on these two sides, this side and the approach side up the steps. So it would be like...
and then once we get it...
Oh, hell, that's a nice shot. So there's the opening. I just need to see right here, steel is what I'm looking for. right here. This is acting in a, the mortar's helping out, and this just broke free, so it didn't have a, that tells you a lot, it didn't have a pull down effect on this. So when they built the landing, they put the mortar on top, and that mortar never really bonded with the landing. And that's why the landing could fall away without pulling this away, because that would be a significant amount of mortar to want to pull away. So it never really bonded, and then in the landing, this didn't fall off because it's integral with the corners, possibly with the overlap the joints, the corners. I think that's a step into the building. Huh. Yeah, because there's a step here and there's concrete, I think.
Get it?
Now I want to creep on this because I want to see if there's rebar, like I said, that's holding that up. To the right corner, I'm looking for rebar. That will give us our hinge. So do we get our hinge? Apparently we don't get a hinge today. Let's try to see if I can get my hinge action. Come on, a little more turn, a little more turn. Ah, shit. Just seems so close. And I don't get my hinge. All right, so there's the mortar I speak of, and the block wall. You can see it's hollow. That helps it too. It wasn't solid filled, so that helps. So we can actually say the walls were not loading on this deck. In fact, the floor was probably being held up mostly by the mortar and this side wall system right here. Again, the plastering stucco, I'm guessing they went over this because I don't see the mapping of block wall. That participated. That helped out. Come on, give me my rebar, baby. I don't see, right about there, maybe. Maybe I'm seeing ghost, but right there and there, very low. And this is a cantilever. This is an overhang. We're right about there. Appears to be some rebar. It might be a mesh. That looks pretty close. It looks like a mesh. But they need to make it higher because it's a cantilever. It's not a, whoa, where do we go with that one?
And for some, what seems to be a growing list of problems that are falling on deaf ears.
It feels like something wrong is happening here.
I'm hoping that the situation will be quickly resolved so that we can.
Okay, yeah, there's the mortar, there's the layout, the map, the layout of the porch. And there's my rebar, baby. Here, and it cracked. Cracked part of the porch system. Very low. It's very at the bottom. It worked. It did the best it could. Most of the, and you see the fracture line. So this was tied into, this was the step coming up, and so we had a connection here. Our connection of this patio was okay. There's the turn. There's the 90 there. It would go. Well, I think it would go there, but I don't see that correctly. The turn of the paint on down the steps. So our connection was with the paste, the mortar having its ability from here to help hold this together, this whole entire cantilever, plus the mortar at the underside of it being anchored like a ceiling anchor from this until it finally gave free from those cycles. Again, cycles, life cycle, cycling it, walking, and the dead load itself. And it finally fractured where it should, where it was holding, where the stresses were. Right there, and over here, this was just a hinge. It wasn't any real paste to hold it there, so that's probably a beautiful clean break. Even though I see a little bit of paint, it looks like it might be a clean break. And this was a full. This is very interesting. It was a full bond, if you will. So the whole thing was acting like two-sided tape right here. How about that? And it broke right down to two-sided tape. And that's where the stresses indicate themselves as. As you can see, they weren't somewhere else. All right, so this is that little 90 I just spoke of. So weirdly, I can't quite make this out. My brain can't put it in a puzzle yet. It's looking weird. It's like I see weird things here. I see ghost. How do I get rid of that? So this is our bond. Our stone seems to be like, I would say ½ inch minus, might even be ½ inch I wouldn't go as 3/4. Half-inch minus, meaning everything's less than half-inch, and there's a couple of randoms. It's a very interesting break. This looks smooth now. That means it fractured the stone even. The stone was held on this side and that side. It didn't, it really stressed itself right across the entire plane. This little lady came out of here, pulled something out of that. That's the steps going up, so pull part of the steps out here and here as it was anchored back. So we're just lacking rebar. I don't know what year this was built, but obviously Florida's where I can go to just do what the hell I want to do, huh? Whoops. Florida, I respected Florida for their concrete licensing they demand. And now, I don't know. I mean, they've been demanding it for, I know somebody who moved down there about 20 years ago, and they were pretty rough, you know, about temperatures and concrete, but apparently it's not regulated enough.
Evacuations have been ordered, but
Let's back that little lady up right to here. Not that lady, I mean the video.
I heard
Okay.
what I thought was like lightning strike the building.
Because you heard a big bang. The big bang, boom! That just flipped over. And yep, there's our hinge
There was no
action.
lightning strikes.
So that's that little piece there. There is white over here on this wall. Now flip this back up. It's part of the step. But apparently somebody's a little sloppy on the paint job because that looks like it's on the vertical side.
Saturday, but the sound of crumbling concrete.
We don't really know if
It wasn't crumbling
this is
concrete.
safe or not.
The landing of Christian.
Ah, there we go. Beautiful. So there's my stone. Nope, it's 3/4. I'd say that's 3/4, but again, it looks like it fractured the stone even. So it was like some good concrete, stronger than the stone. At this case, when it fractured. I don't, you know, it's a photography, so it could be sticking out. You know, the dimensions, and my man zoomed in, so that makes stuff look flat. My man or girl, whoever the hell it is. There's my bar, right there, the very bottom. The very wrong place to put a cantilever and overhang. Should have been up yonder, and then the steel would have been tied in up to here, all the way up the steps, tied over, get you down the column a bit, quite a bit, because this is all acting like column, tying it in down the sides. Per the year it was installed, I don't know, so I'm just saying current day, this would have gotten a lot more steel placed. I am very impressed that it made it this long, whatever timeline we're talking about. I'm very impressed that, you know, they got that much dead load on it, and it was able to do that. It's a clean break, though. You see they built the porch first, and then they laid the block on top. And no mortars on it, so it just sucked right away. It's very interesting. Very interesting. He was going to poke himself in the eye, and then he changed his mind. I could sense that's what he wanted to do. It's what I do sometimes when I'm frustrated. I just grab my fingers and poke my eyes out. And then like he's trying to do it just now. See, look, but he's on video and he's going to change his mind. Yeah, he changed his mind. He's half committed to the eye poking thing. You gotta be committed to the eye poking thing. You know, some people slap, go, ah. No, you gotta go all out. You gotta go right for the eyes. Right for the eye poke. All right, so there's 2 addresses here. So interesting, they're condemning all of it. And yet they can't even figure out what's going on here. Oh man, I'd love to get a job down in Florida now. I'd make it so easy. I'd run there, do a quick evaluation, tell people that how to brace the steps real quick. They can brace those steps and still use them. They can brace them from underneath so the people can still get in there, but they're displacing these people. They're kicking them out.
Off South.
They can quickly brace those
West
steps
100.
with some 4x4s and
157.
under each individual, under every damn step, brace it with a 4x4 across, 4x4s down, temporary supports, and we're talking enough to hire a contractor. We're talking buying you 14 days and going by every day and inspecting them.
7th Avenue, Monday.
And tell
A county
people,
inspector
stay off the steps.
stopping by.
You go at your own risk. you know, something like that. But at least let them get back in their house.
The condos,
You know,
we're
but they
told
shut down the whole top floor for that.
a structural engineer has been hired. And so in the
I mean, right there, you could just support this down to the ground real quickly. You know, a big plate. You know, crib it up crib it up because that's gonna. You see what happened there, and there's no steel in there, so the steel's at the bottom there. So for that steel to work, okay. So you know where the steel is now. It's at the bottom. So at the bottom, the steel's at the bottom, ladies and gentlemen. Let's make this work real quick so they can get in there. So here's our slab. Let's run the steel in it real quick. Let's run some steel in that. Whoa. Don't get fresh with me, little thing. So first steel is here, and it's at the bottom. So that steel like that is good to be supported at the ends. So put a support there. Put a support here. We're talking temporary, so they can get this thing right. Maybe it'll be permanent after they do it. But not, and now side action goes like this. So side action would be at the end where we look at the porch from the ends. It would look something, that would be the thickness of it, and this would be the walls that go on top. So this is that wall that's on top that wraps around. So that's the wall that you come up the steps, and you turn and you go up more steps here. So you go up more steps here behind this. So that's the pad to flip down. So you would, leave that one alone, but you would then, temporary, so let's go with a different color. You would then support it in two plate like this. Like there, and then you would add the two columns along with the base. So you'd want to, because that's soil there, so you'd want to crib it up really nice. And if you want to be badass and crib it up and make them say tough luck, you want to get in, you make them crib it all the way up. Instead of posts like this that require some anchoring and all that, you say, you know what, I'd like to help you, but I want you to crib it all the way up. All the way up like you're going to move a house. So I want you to do this. All the way up. That one got behind it wrongly. Yep, I screwed that one up. So it'll be, yeah. So you crib it all the way up. Let's try this. And that would be the safest bet, because now it can only drop a couple of inches. So you crib it like this. 4x4. 4x4s would work probably pretty good with this. Bunch of 4x4s. And crib it. Crib it! Crib it. Crib it. So let's change. Oh, that was beautiful. I didn't see that coming. You went behind there? How did I do that? Let's try this. Oh, there it is. Oh, I did it again. Anyway, you crib it all the way up. Well, you know, of course, if the engineer's there, he could probably tell them how to brace this with some metal braces and things like that. And you'd probably do it like that. If you could know where the metal, you're assuming the metal's in there like this. And now this metal will now be loaded on each end. So now it works. That's how it works. This one is now working in that capacity. And in overhang capacity, it's shit. It wants, and this steel goes back in there just enough where we see it hinge. Let's do an overlay. We see it hinge right about here. Okay, that didn't work out right. Let's delete that. Oops. Delete. Oops. Delete. And try again. There we go. So then we see it right about there. Okay. I think I'll come out to here. Move this guy. Even though the rebars, well, we're going to make it so it works there. It's continuous, right? I don't want you to think it's not continuous. So let's grab another one and do an overlay of that one. So it's continuous out to, well, I think it's continuous. Let's say out to there. and we see a hinge happen. So it's probably got a little chipped off concrete down on the floor here. But a hinge happens, it hinges down, concrete hinges down. Now, if there was reinforcement at the top, it wouldn't be able to hinge down as much. Because remember, the rebar right there just acts as a little hinge. It only had to break off. What was holding it up was what? The rebar in there. Well, this little triangle was holding it up. No triangle, really? Well, I'll make a triangle. So this triangle was right down here. That little, let's change the color to blue. That little triangle there was holding this up. Without that triangle, we then get the hinge action. So that lot of pressure was right there, and what else is holding it up? Right inside here, that entire section there. Also, was holding it up with the paste, with the, let's say, text message, the paste of the bonding agent of the concrete, so the paste, paste / mortar of concrete mix, of concrete, and I'm going to say, and mix, meaning equals stones also, right? They act as a bridge. They act as a bridge to some degree. The stones do, from one side to the other. So they're not going to be discounted as nothing, because you wrap around it. It gives it a stronger connection. Yeah, stronger connection. Right in here are the stones. Okay, so remove this under pressure. This stays there, and under pressure of it wanting the weight of this. So there's the weight, the dead load, right? So there's a dead load tax, dead load, and cycle loading. Now remember, we have the mortar that from the block holding it up, kind of reverse type way. It held it up to a little bit also, the mortar did. So that little bit of paste mortar, that little bit of paste for the block, it held it like a hanger, if you will, of paste from the block. So now, I was saying that how you support this is that you would simply, I'm going to grab a different one. You'll simply, if you're stuck with that steel, if you know that's where the steel is, you then just change it to this span. Now that steel works between this span. So you just need a column here. Yeah, I don't know how deep you have to go down where this location is to do a footer. And you now put a column in there. Now the steel works. Steel's going into there. Steel's going over here. It's supported. And now you could, for sport, after you get that across the column, you could give it a longer support right there. See, just to tie the two together like that, if you wanted to, if you were so inclined also, and the other end. But you still have, looking from the top down, right? Looking from the top down, as we look from the sky down to the flapped over deck, we have the issue of the rebar being this direction, being, really, can I duplicate it this way, guys? Let's see if I can do a duplication this way. Whoa. Okay, command copy. Okay, so we got the rebar like this. So you see the way, I bet you it's not two directional. So we're able to support it right here, and it's got a little bit of non-supported area. So that's why you would probably want to put a beam on the outside. And so we have the overlaid beam here also, which is this one. And here, a beam behind it, looking like this, as you look from the back. So that beam would go across underneath right there. And that would then, the loads that are only 40 pounds would work out. I'm not worried about somebody 40-pound moving furniture up causing us to fail. That steel in this direction it's a one-way slab supported out here and supported in there with the traffic coming up and then turning and then going up the steps this way. The human traffic, I don't see that as a big deal. It held up all those years. Now, the concrete even looks solid. It doesn't look like it's crumbling, broke apart, fractured, just besides where we have our joint here as you come up the landing, up the steps here, turn on this landing and go up. Now, that load of the wall would be sitting on here. You'd put it back on there and grout it back in so the wall doesn't fall over. So, yes, you would then give it support, a column, to get its own little support along the full length. Not just on the ends, because we don't know if rebar is in there to help it out. So give it a full support right there. That would be for the existing ones. For the one that's already gone, you can do the same thing. Form it up, frame it up, and just for the hell of it, just because you can, run some wire in there also. You know how much I love my wire. Support it this way, and you don't have a future issue. You go back with the overhang, and you will always have it in overhang stress capacity. The rebar up here will stop it from going down because the triangle, like so there's a small triangle, right? Where's the small triangle? Okay, I'll move this out of the way. Well, I won't be moving that out of the way. Okay, you stay there. You come here. Now our small triangle gets bigger. So now for this cantilever to try to crush back, it's got a longer surface for it to try to make it react. The loads are trying to go down, but they're also trying to pivot, as you saw. And they're putting a stress inside this steel. Right, yo, what are you doing? Where's my thing? All right. I'm going to sneak into it this way. It's putting that stress inside the steel, like right there. I'll go with that one. And that's where your pull-out capacity matters. So you would test the pull-out there. You get that great pull-out strength. And you go, you know what, we're okay down there. You would test that concrete. You can go to the existing concrete, the test it, the porch, drill, put rebar in there and pull it out. And go, this concrete's capable of pulling this, no problem, and it cantilever capacity. But it's not any longer, because of where we found the placement of the rebars at the bottom. So you got to get that support back at the top, like this, which you could theoretically drill all the way through and make it to the back, but that's just nonsense. Just go ahead and put the supports all the way around. So now you see why the porch failed. It was in cantilever, and they had the rebar at the bottom and none at the top. Okay, ending.